Guys, welcome back to Three Rivers Wrench. Brian James here. We're up at the house. Bear is here. Not only is he haunting my dreams, he's haunting my home. So anyways, I get to work on this guy whenever I want, at least when I'm not at work. So here we are. We've got a lot to do. I'm going to jam pack like three and a half weeks worth of work into this one episode. It's going to be me thrashing on the body, getting it ready for paint, which will happen the week of Memorial Day. So we've got a lot to do. Not only the exterior, but we've also got a trunk to kind of clean and get ready for some splatter paint. The interior needs cleaned up really good because we have some sound deadening material to put in there. So let's just get to it, man. I got a lot to do. All right, first things first, we need to drill some holes in Bear. Yeah, we need to open some things up that were closed. As you can see right here, there is a patch. There used to be a hole here. That was for an antenna mount. Now I have a brand new antenna mount for our big, like 8-foot whip antenna. It's gonna go right here. So what I wanna do is drill the holes for this guy. So I'm not doing it later on when I have paint and everything on it. So get that going. Steve also gave me both spotlights, left and right. I picked those up when I was up in New Hampshire. So we need to kind of mount those guys up front, get those holes drilled, make sure we're good there. And then we can really start laying down some filler and smoothing this guy out, which it shouldn't be too bad. He's in pretty good shape considering. So let me get my drill. We'll open this thing up. Not too shabby. It looks pretty cool. That spring base on there for the big whip. I like it. Let's move on to the spotlights. All right, I think we're going to start with the passenger side first because there's actually some holes in the car. They're a little bit easier to identify. Once we get this one down, the driver's side hopefully will go a little easier since those holes are sealed up. Bracket kit. Look at that box. Right hand. Very nice. Guys, this is like NOS stuff. This is old. Never been opened. Beautiful condition too. Wow. Even has the instructions with it. Oh, is that nice? Unity Manufacturing Company, Chicago, USA, model H1. This is really cool, guys. Check out the assembly instructions for the spotlight. I mean, yeah, this is old, original stuff. 75 through 76 Buick Apollo, 75, 77 Skylark, Nova, Omega, Ventura, Cadillac Seville. Over here we've got big Buicks and Cadillacs, Chevys, Oldsmobile, Pontiacs. I show you how to mount it on a Chrysler, you know, Monaco, Polara, Imperial, Fury, Grand Fury. And there's our kind of X-ray through the A-pillar spotlight, and there's the controls. Wow, very, very cool to have this stuff. These are actual little templates I can cut out and put on the body and mark my holes. I don't think I'm going to need to do that though, because we already have holes there that just need to be opened up. You can tell where they were, you know, welded shut. So I'm going to read these instructions a little bit better, and we'll get to drilling. Okay, here we are. These are the two mounting holes for the bracket that I was talking about. They never welded these two holes shut. They just smeared some Bondo over them, so it was very easy to just open those guys up. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take this bracket and we're just going to bolt it, or rather run some screws right through those holes. And then we run a 1/2-inch bit through this center guy here. What's cool is they give us a little bushing that sits in here that guides the drill bit so you don't tear up the nice chrome mount. So let me mount this guy up and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Wow, it's like it was made for it. Well, is that nice? Okay. Okay guys, here's what we've got. They give you, in this kit from 1970 whenever, they give you this bushing thing. This is just something you throw away when you're done with it, but what you do is you stick it in this hole, right? Loosen this set screw up here. Oh, okay, it only goes in that far. And we tighten our set screw. So that should not come out of there. Now I can take a 1/2-inch bit and put it right in this hole, drill through the A-pillar, and this bushing prevents me from, like I said, tearing up this nice chrome mount. Now, I'm not going to use a battery-powered drill for this because we're drilling through weld. Somebody welded that shut, so I don't know how nasty this is going to be, but what's cool is this bushing helps us stay straight. So I'm going to go ahead and start ripping and tearing here, guys. Slowly. Well, that seemed easy enough. Success, finally. We're going to let that cool down for a minute. Okay, I'm going to be very careful with this guy. It should just slide right through. Just like so. I'm going to tighten this set screw. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Man, that's really cool. I don't have it permanently installed. We could just pull this handle right off, guys. I just wanted to see it working, but that is neat. Now, on to the driver's side. Nice. Oh yeah. Isn't this fun? This is fun. Woo, it's tough coming up with creative camera angles in here, guys. We are really stuffed in this garage right now. But yesterday was very productive. We got the spotlights installed, that antenna base installed. I also opened up, there was a hole in the roof over here where the wires would come up for the light bar. Got that opened back up. Then I took, and I didn't film it because who wants to see me sanding for, you know, however long this video is going to be, because that's what I'm going to be doing. 80 grit sandpaper on the roof. I'll show you here in a second. I circled all the dark spots, which will be low spots. We need to add a little bit of filler, not much, just a skim coat to kind of smooth this guy out. It's going to be that way for basically the whole body. I sand down the epoxy with some 80 grit, and it's not like I'm going all the way down to bare steel, but in some spots I may. We're just scuffing up, we're looking for the low spots. Once we find those, we'll add a little bit of filler, Then we'll hit it with the high build primer, a couple coats of that. Then we'll sand it with, you know, the 220, 320 stuff, and we'll look for any more low spots, and we'll take care of those as we see them. But yeah, it's just a repetitive process. Let me show you the roof here. Okay, I think you can see some of these dark spots. I've got them circled. Couple dings and dents. Just one on this little body line here, but it's kind of on this side instead of right on the line. Although we'll reshape that. Here's the hole that they had plugged up. This is where the lights, like I said, they'll come up and go to the light bar, which we have. Steve has it up in New Hampshire. I didn't want to bring it back with me because, oh man, I don't want to damage that thing. All right, folks, we are roughed in. I've got I've got all the big dents taken care of that I can find. We'll be hitting this with a couple coats of high build primer, and then we'll be able to see if there's any more dents when we start scuffing that in. But for the most part, we're in good shape. So yeah, that was a pretty good ding right there. It looks pretty good. So like I said, that filler primer will really tell the story. I'm waiting for some filler to dry, so time to take this windshield out, I figure. Something to do. I've got a windshield removal kit that I bought from Harbor Freight years ago. I'm sure it's not as cheap now as it was back then. I think it was like 15 bucks, but you get this long T-handled piece. Let me open it up. And you take a piece of wire. You kind of poke it through. This has a little fork on the end. It'll poke through. And then you take one of these handles and run the wire through it. You'll see in a second. Then you cut off whatever you need. And then this end you attach to the other T-handle. And this wire is serrated, so you kind of saw. And it takes a while, but it does work. And this wire will snap on you, so you got to be careful of that. Probably wear gloves. I can't find mine, so we're just gonna, oh, there they are. I'll put my gloves on and we'll just start working on this. All right, I've got my little T-handle guy here. The poker, cut off a piece of wire. What I'm gonna do is kind of bend it around the tip of this guy. And we're gonna try to slide it right through. And we extract this guy. We don't need him for a little while. Now we have the wire on either side. I guess you could just hold the wire and do one of these numbers. Do long strokes and pull. Put my gloves on. You have to watch, make sure you didn't get caught around any steel. I think we're okay. The corners tend to be a little harder because they got a lot of sealer in there. You get a workout, that's for sure. The other thing that helps is this windshield's been in here forever, and this sealer is really dry. So it's cutting real easy. And for me, it helps. I have very long arms, so you might need a partner for this. I'm at the halfway mark. Almost. And on these cars, guys, if you care, and we don't for this windshield, there's a little antenna wire that comes through here, and this windshield's not going to be reused. So if I cut it, no big deal. Oh, I broke the wire. Man, we were so close. Let me cut another piece. I think what we can do is one of these. There you go. One piece for now. Come on. There we go. I did not expect that to take 5 minutes, guys. I really didn't. But Southern California, this stuff is really, really dry. That serrated wire just went through it like butter. And yeah, had to take the windshield out. It was cracked over there. We do have a good replacement. It's not new, it's a used one, but it's not cracked. And the other reason was I really need to get at this dashboard. I need to be able to scuff this up, paint it, What's very nice about this car on a lot of 4th gens, probably 3rd gens, the dash right in this area rusts out, and I think a leak develops right in this area, and the water gets in there, just destroys that thing. So anyways, what I'm going to do now is get a razor blade out and start cutting all this excess stuff out of here. Well, we're officially on the clock. I mean, we had a deadline, but I am really feeling the pressure now, guys. I got a lot to do before next week when we start paint. So, just to recap real quick, the body is sanded in 80 grit, like everything. The jambs, the cowl, all that has been sanded in 80 grit. We're about to spray some filler primer today, but before we get to that, we've got some seam sealer to take care of. Now, when I cleaned up this cowl area, we chipped a lot of the old seam sealer off because it was dried out and it was garbage. So new stuff's going on. All the seams will get sealed up here. We're also going to move into the cab area. I think you saw that I went in there with the wire wheel, just kind of smoothed everything out. There's a lot of seam sealer in there that was dried out that needs replaced, so we're going to be doing that as well. Also, the trunk area, you saw I cleaned out the trunk pretty good. It's in spray bomb primer right now, and I did have to weld a couple holes shut. These were not rust holes. These were just, where they mounted like a transmitter receiver, maybe some gun mounts or something. I don't know, but we filled all those holes in, ground those smooth. But also in the back, we got some seam sealing to do. So I'm going to do this real quick, and then we're going to wipe this guy down and get him back in the garage and shoot 2 really thick coats of filler primer, which I get to sand all week. Yay! Alright guys, looks really, really good. I don't see anything major going on as far as dents or dings. Looks like we took care of the majority of them. There's a few little things here and there. Now, that quarter panel over there that I repaired, remember that one? Let me show you that. So here is the quarter panel I repaired. Remember we took this whole chunk out and replaced it? Just looking at it, I can see a little something in here I need to work with. Got to kind of adjust that a little bit with some filler and some sandpaper. All in all, not too bad to look at. The real test is when you run your hand down it. Yeah, it feels pretty good, but there's still a little something there we got to straighten out. It's so much nicer to have it in a solid color so you can see what you're doing and see what you need to do. This has to be as good as I can get it because gloss black, it's going to show everything. So I got my work cut out here, but the rest of the body looks really good. So I got a lot of sanding to do. And then we go to the sealer, and again, this is going to be two different colors. We're going to have black and white, so that'll be fun. We'll start to see them come alive. Okay, what we're going to do, instead of me having 3-4 minutes of time elapsed video of me sanding this car, and it's with bad music, I'm going to show you how I'm sanding the car, and then you'll get an idea of why it does take so long. So what we're going to do is we're going to sand this area right here, all the steps, you know, prior to sealer, and I'll give you a close-up so you can see what the grain of this filler primer looks like. It really just looks like an orange. You hear the term orange peel. When you get up on this guy, it looks like the surface of an orange. Now this filler primer has filler in it, which is just talcum powder, right? And that talcum powder is to fill in scratches. So I always put, you know, 2 pretty heavy coats on a vehicle that I'm doing. Like this guy, he got 2 very thick coats. Gives me a lot to sand, and it really fills in the scratches. Let me pull you down here real close, show you what this looks like. Okay, yeah. You can see how that's kind of grainy looking, kind of like the surface of an orange. Okay, so we're going to start with 220, and I'm using several different things here for this trunk. We're really just going to use this guy, but I've got this sanding block, I've got a small sanding block, and then I have a piece of the 220 that I just kind of folded on itself. It's self-adhesive. That's for getting little nooks and crannies and things that these blocks won't fit in. So I'm just going to take my 220 block here and again cross pattern. It sands pretty easy. It's very, very dusty, you know, talcum powder. That's why I keep that vacuum cleaner handy. So I will sand that and then vacuum it. And then when you get up on it, the very light gray is kind of smooth, and then you'll see this little patch here. It's kind of orange peely still. What we're doing is we're trying to make that go away. So I can tell by looking at it that this is pretty good. There's a little area right here. A little X pattern there. That looks good. This dark area here is just the epoxy primer underneath starting to show, and that's okay. We got some bare steel. That's okay. I just got to touch up my corners here. All right, now we're pretty smooth as far as this little square goes. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to bump up to 320 grit and sand the same area. Okay, I've got my 320. Same process. You see the sandpaper's getting clogged. That's where this vacuum cleaner comes in handy, especially with this little brush. I can just, again, glove up. Looks pretty good. Some heavy scratches still from the 220. And you can really tell how smooth this is. And it gets even better. When you hit it with the 600, it really becomes like glass. We'll see some scratches in there, and that's okay. A lot of these scratches, they're not scratches, right? Well, they were scratched, but now they're filled with the fillet primer, so it's actually smooth. It just looks like it's all scratchy. So let's get a piece of 600. Okay, I've got my 600. And this stuff clogs up very fast. Yeah, like glass, guys. This looks amazing. And what I do after sanding each panel, each chunk of the car, I just hit it with some of this alcohol-based glass cleaner and a lint-free rag. Just wipe it off. That feels amazing. So this section right here is ready for sealer. So yeah, that's what I'm doing to the entire car. So every step you saw here is what I'm doing to the quarter panels, the rocker panels, this tail panel, the jambs, you name it. It's getting this process here, and that's why it takes so long. I've got a lot of hours into this, so instead of, like I said, you guys watching me sand this old car, we're just gonna move on from this to spraying sealer. Okay, we're gonna wait on sealer, just because it's drizzling outside and I'd rather paint when it's a little drier. So this afternoon it's supposed to get much better. Once this front moves through. So I've decided, thinking about it, to paint the trunk. Reason being, we'll go ahead and paint this trunk out, and if I have any overspray or drips or anything like that on the exterior of the car, it's much easier to see when this guy's in kind of bare steel primer right now. I'll be able to clean it off, smooth it out, as opposed to I spray this thing in sealer, then we do the trunk, or it's in regular body paint and we do the trunk, and then I get some overspray. That's going to be an issue for me anyway. So I've got a fan drying out the trunk. I've just wiped it all out. I'll show you, I've taped off every hole that goes into the trunk so we get no, clouds of paint inside the car here. We don't want to fog up that back window. Guys, we're not breaking the bank here. I basically got some satin black, a couple cans. We're gonna fog the entire trunk area in satin black. After that, we will go over with the trunk paint. Now there's a couple different kinds that Duplicolor makes. There's this can here, it's got a little heavier, coarse color in it. This one's a little finer. I believe what we're after is this guy, so we're gonna be using these ones. I may have to go out and get another can. We'll see. Okay, we're looking good. I am going to use a mask because we're in kind of an enclosed area here. I'm going to have my head, and I don't want to get high at 8:30 in the morning. Maybe later, but not now. Okay, I was wrong. We're going with the blacker of the two trunk paints. This stuff, I had to check with Steve and he confirmed this is the stuff we need, not this stuff. So we're all shook up. we're gonna go ahead and shoot this guy, and this part will be done. Awesome. Kind of gives you an idea, guys, what this stuff looks like without black paint behind it. So there is a little bit of a black tint to it, but you really need to kind of blacken it up with some black paint first. So just so you guys know. Ooh, buddy, that looks so good. It looks so good. I didn't get crazy going up top there. Kind of duplicating factory, but not, because they were not as anal retentive as I was about getting it down in these cracks. If you guys remember our tour of Steve's 9C1 collection, and we saw Black Knight, that was factory original, and it was not as, covered as what I did. But, what's going to happen in the future is when we get all the trunk pads in here, most of this is going to be covered up anyways. So still looks good though, right? Bear's come a long way. Well, it's 6 o'clock in the evening, guys, and it just stopped raining, and nothing is going to get shot in sealer today. Tomorrow. 70 degrees and sunny, so I'm told. We'll see. I took this whole week off to paint, and I have not done squat, except for the trunk, which, that did turn out great, but this is not where I wanted to be. But anyways, I had to kill some time today. I didn't film much of it because it wasn't that interesting. It does look great when you're done. It is the sound deadening acoustic material stuff. This stuff's made by Vevor, V-E-V-O-R. Steve got us several boxes of this stuff. Oh, it's super heavy. Looks like this. Got it from Amazon, I believe. Probably close to $100 a box. But in the end, this car's going to be real quiet going down the road. And one box, I'm not done yet. I still got a few little pieces to do. One box will get the whole floor done in a Nova, a 4-door Nova. We're going to open another box just because we have it, and we're going to take a few sheets. I'm going to put them on the ceiling. From what I'm told, the sirens and things in these cars, very loud because it's right above your head. So anything we can do to quiet it down in here a little bit. I think what I'll also do is maybe take 1 or 2 sheets and stick it to the inside of the doors, on the inside of the skins, kind of quiet them down. Should be pretty cool. So I'll give you a close-up shot of this, and you can see it's just peel and stick, guys, and take a razor blade. Cuts real easy. Just make it fit. Just one layer, don't overlap. That way, whatever flooring, whether it's carpet or a rubber mat, goes down nice and smooth, and there's no extra humps. But yeah. Yeah, not bad, right, guys? I still got to finish up here underneath the driver's side, but other than that, looks really good. Real easy job if you want to do something to quiet your car down. I think this is worth it. Well, folks, the weather is finally cooperating. I've got Bear taped off and got my sealer mixed. We're going to go ahead and shoot 2 coats of white, and once that's dry, we'll unmask what we need to and shoot 2 coats of black. Well, sorry about the noise. I got the fan going, trying to suck all these fumes out of here, guys. Looks pretty dust-free and bug-free for the time being. We're gonna go ahead and let it flash and dry for another 20 minutes. Then I'm gonna carefully unwrap this thing. We'll get them outside and see what we're really dealing with here. For the most part, it looks pretty good though. Boy, I just squeaked by. I almost ran out of hardener for the black. Just made it. Just made it. Well, here we are at the end of another episode, but this time there's some serious progress that has been made. I feel like a week behind right now, so I'm gonna keep on trucking. I got a few more days of vacation left. We're gonna start painting probably doors. Seems like an easy thing to do. The sealer, I'm gonna call this complete. I don't think we're gonna need sealer anymore. Although, guys, if you're using sealer and you're at this stage and you see a blemish or something you need to straighten out, you can always sand it, add some filler, straighten things out, and shoot it with some sealer again. So you can patch fix this, because it's not the end all, right? You can always go back and fix things. We haven't painted yet, so we're looking really, really good. So I'm gonna get busy and I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one.